Hi everyone. Today, we will discuss Docker basics to get you interview ready.
What is Docker? Docker is a platform designed to help developers build, deploy, and run applications inside containers. Containers are lightweight, portable, and run isolated from one another. Docker versus virtual machines. Unlike virtual machines, Docker containers share the host system's kernel, making them more efficient. They start quickly and use fewer resources.
What is Docker? Docker is containerization technology. Packaging and running the applications in an isolated environment. What is containerization? Multiple packaged software and dependent libraries which are isolated and run within the same container environment. What is virtualization? Is a technique through which we run multiple isolated environments in a single machine. Each environment has its own OS.
Docker Engine, the core service for running containers. The software that hosts the Docker container. Docker Hub, a cloud-based registry where you can find and share container images. Docker Compose, a tool for defining and running multi-container Docker applications. Dockerfile, a text document that contains all the commands to assemble an image. Docker CLI commands. Docker login. Log into Docker registry. Docker pull image _name. Pull image from a registry. Docker run container. Run container. Docker run image _name. Run container in detached mode. Docker start container _name. Start stopped container. Docker PS. List running containers. Docker CLI commands. Docker PSJ. List running and stopped containers. Docker image inspect image _name. Get image info. Docker kill container _name. Kill containers. Docker run. Memory equals to 156 meters nginx. Limit max memory. Docker run. CPU's 0.5 nginx. Limit CPU memory. Docker run. Publish 80 to 80. Name dev server nginx. Pull and run nginx server. Here dev server is the container local. Name. Nginx is the container image in the Docker registry. Shell commands. Docker run it nginx bash attach shell. Docker exected container _name. Bash attached to a running container. Docker cleanup commands. Docker rm container _name. Remove stopped container. Docker rm $docker ps a q. Remove all stopped containers. Docker images. List images. Docker rmi image _name. Delete the image. Be cautious while running below. Command. Docker system prune. A. Removes all images by any container not in use. Run nginx container. Docker run. Deed P8080. Name web server nginx. To run nginx container. Curl localhost 8080 to check nginx started from cmd. Building container. Docker build out name. Tag. To builds an image using a Docker file located in the same folder. Docker build out name. Tag f file name. It builds an image using a Docker file located in a different folder. Docker tag imaginame named tag. Tag an existing image. How the Docker container stored data. Actually, containers are stateless and ephemeris short-lived. You don't store data in containers. In two ways we can store data. First one is non-persistent data. Here data written locally on a container writable layer. Just write to the file system is default. When the containers are destroyed, data also get destroyed. Second one is persistent data. Here data stored outside the container in a volume PV. A volume is mapped to a logical folder. We can say that Docker volume maps a folder on the host to a logical folder in the container. To store data, volumes are preferred over bind mounts for data storage and sharing between containers. Let us see the Docker volume commands now. Docker volume create volume _name. To create new volume, Docker volume ls. To list volume. Docker volume inspect volume _name. It display volume info. Docker run. Dvolume devtest evd. myvol. app nginx latest. Run a container with volume from the above command. Next is Docker ps laid filter volume equals devolume format equals, names volume equals, mounts. This command is tells which volume attached to which container. Docker compose, to define and run multi-container application. It is done by using Docker plugin below our v1 old version commands. Docker compose build the images, Docker compose start. Start the containers, Docker compose stop. Stop the containers. Docker compose up, to build and start the containers. Docker compose ps, to list what is running. Docker compose rm, to remove from memory. Docker compose down, to stop and remove containers. Docker compose logs, to displays logs. Docker compose exec container bash, to connect to the instance. Docker compose version 2, below are new commands. Docker compose a project in name devtest up, or Docker compose appy devtest up, to run an instance as a project. Docker compose cp containerid, src_path dest _path. Above command is used to copy file from container. Docker compose cps rc_path containerid, dest _path is used to copy file to the container. Now we'll learn what are Docker restart policy. Mainly there are for types. No, always, on failure, unless stopped. No, default restart policy does not restart a container. Under any circumstances, always restart the container until its removal. On failure, restart a container if their exit code indicates an error. Unless stopped, restart a container irrespective of the exit code, but will stops. Restarting, when the service is stopped or removed. Docker container registries. There are two types of registries, private and public registries. Below are some of respective companies' container registries. Hub.docker.com is the default repo. Repositories are central for container images. Microsoft has Azure Container Registries. Amazon has Elastic Container Registries. Google has Google Container Registries, and so on. Now we see how to publish images to the Docker Hub registry. Docker login, your username, password, login to Docker Hub. Docker tag my _image workspace or my image latest, tag the image if previously built. Docker pull workspace my image latest, pull the image. Docker push workspace my image latest, push the image. Docker networking, Docker provides various network drivers. Bridge, default network driver, containers on the same host can communicate. Docker host removes network isolation between the container and the Docker host. Overlay, used for multi-host networking. Useful in a swarm cluster. Below are some of the benefits of using Docker. Portability, containers can run on any system that supports Docker. Scalability, easily scale up or down by adding or removing containers. Isolation, each container runs in its own isolated environment. Efficiency, containers are lightweight and use system resources more efficiently. We came to the end of the course now. Hope you understood the basics of Docker and the essential commands used. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share, and comment.
In your eyes, I find my peace, a love so sweet. It won't decrease in every smile. I see my home with you, I never